You are in a room filled with your friends, but they are all dead. Suddenly, one by one, they begin to move.
We've been aware of some very serious vampire activity in this town for a long time.
Santa Carla's become a haven for the undead.
As a matter of fact, we're almost certain that ghouls and werewolves occupy high positions at City Hall.
Hey, Jill, I found these CDs, and I was thinking I'd start off with a set of Pearl Jam, and then maybe a little Nirvana.
Your band's gonna play grunge music for a father and daughter dance?
The best way to die was started tonight. They've all lost control, but they're feeling alright. The best way to die was started tonight. They've all lost control, but they're feeling alright.
Fuck you. Give me a bottle of booze. Here's my $1. Suck my dick.
The copyrights. Graveyards down the street.
Do you believe in the boogeyman?
Morgue Radio. The world's original all-horror broadcast.
Can man withstand the incredible force of this uncontrollable holocaust from outer space? Hey, welcome fiends, welcome to the show, welcome. It's Morgue Radio, the Weird Wide Web's original all-horror broadcast. Yes.
Who are you? Tell me. Who are you?
I'm your host, the salacious slinger of strange musical waves, Tomb Dragomir.
A beast from 20 million years ago who eats nothing but bananas, milk, chocolate cake, and ice cream.
I love that banana.
Yeah.
This week on the broadcast.
It's been proven that the way I write discourages film adaptation. I really like going at things inside out and backwards. And movie people hate that.
Legendary horror novelist Peter Straub returns. Our blood-spattered guide to music gets spaced out on the galactic hits of a Swiss Sci-Fi Expo.
See this charge of science fiction dynamite.
And boom goes the dynamite.
And the caustic critics penetrate Frank Henenlotter's bad biology.
I can feel it all inside me. The Garden of Eden, Sodom and Gomorrah, Armageddon, all inside my pussy. Plagues, famines, swarms of locusts, Joshua, Jacob, Jeremiah, Peter and Paul, and all the disciples deep inside my vagina. Our Father who art in Jennifer, hallowed be thy name. God is finally fucking me, and all I now want is to feel myself flooded with his holy seed.
A wacky, crazy musical terror teenage en route this week from the Buzzcocks, Rational Youth, The Normal, The Heavy, The Monster Squad, plus tons more fun to come on your home for horror, rot, and roll remorse.
An explosion of terror you will never forget.
Let's kick it off with a cartoon casualty from Murderland on Morgue Radio. Let's go!
We're all gonna casualty, some about my TV screen, some about the 70s, turn them out to anarchy. We're all gonna casualty, come on get you know what I mean. In exposure to your business, turn out get no sick we green. I got a problem on my brain, gone insane, and more because you know controls are screaming in my brain. I put on my street jacket, but I'm not feeling well. Turn off the rain and slip away to animated hell again. These are the news that never end. The TV is my only friend, and then a massacre in Neverland, hand in hand with ducks and rats. We're all got new casualties, for sex with battle teams. We take the color beams, or caffeine and amphetamine. We're all got new casualties, brain damage disease. We tune in every week to see the victim fantasy. I got a problem, all my friends gone insane, and I'm a suicidal thoughts are screaming in my brain. I put on my straight jacket, but I'm not feeling well. Turn off the lights and slip away to animated hell again. These are the news that never end. The TV is my only friend, and there's a massacre in Neverland, hand in hand with ducks and rats. We're all got new casualties, scum of humanity, sucking on that arrangement, Saturday morning fantasy. We're all got new casualties, unruly anarchy. Judy's parents' basement has become a terrifying thing. I got a problem, all my friends gone away. Necessity for the rapidly affairs in a day. I'm in Judy's basement, but it's not going well. Turn off the lights and slip away to animated hell again. These are the news that never end. The TV is my only friend, and there's a massacre in Neverland again, hand in hand with my monster friends. I tell you, I got a problem, I cannot feel my face. My only comfort is the television I can praise. I'm making out with Jay, and Laura's on the phone, and now I'm sitting in my room so vacant and alone again. These are the news that never end. The TV is my only friend, and there's a massacre in Neverland, hand in hand with ducks and rats.
Wes Craven showed me that the hills have eyes, and Ramiro showed me that the dead shall rise. Leatherface taught me how to use a chainsaw, so I do like Metallica and kill them all. Sam Raimi showed me about the Necronomicon. Demons invading and you're dead by dawn. The beyond, it'll swallow you up in the mouth of madness. No escape, you're fucked. Fulci showed me about the cat in the brain. The hit you taught me not to pick up. Nobody's strange in this horror shit. I've been totally consumed. Werewolves howling at the moon. Creature from the Black Lagoon. The Mummy, Dracula, Frankenstein. Let's not forget the legends, cause they'll never die. Tell me what you see on my TV screen. Violence, rape, and murdering. Tell me what you see on my TV screen. scene that you just can't believe. All these things that you've seen are the horrors of your dreams. Scream out with fear, cause the boogeyman is near. The reasons why we love it are never quite clear. Certain people born with it, a love for the cinema. Escape from the pressures of the world closing in on you. Since I was just 6, horror films have been my love. From cannibals to zombies to giallo black gloves. Blood splattered big screens to a horror fans alike. Gore hell's aroused by the beauty and the violence. Tell me what you see on my TV screen. Violence, rape, and murder. Tell me what you see on my TV screen. Lunatics performing surgery. Tell me what you see on my TV screen. Piles of guts and duct tape sluts. Tell me what you see on my TV screen. This ain't nothing new, I'm a horror movie buff. Ever since I was young, I've been into gore. Straight to the horror section when I'm in the movie store. Looking for the good shit, something to excite me. It's gotta be bone chilling and quite frightening. To fuck with the lyrics coming from the Monster Squad. More disturbing than Cannibal Holocaust. The Exorcist freak me out, no doubt. Especially when she spun the head all the way the fuck around. Classical shit, they don't make them like they used to. Flicking ashes off the blunt while zombies chew through your flesh. Like when vultures pick at you, rip at you. I love the splatterfest cinema. Women are degraded and raped. Beat the fuck down and wake up in the cage. Only to realize you're on the menu for dinner. Grill up the good meat, throw your carcass in the wood chipper.
Monster Squad on Remorgue Radio, and now it's time for another late-breaking news break.
Let's see what's in the newspaper today.
Canadian-born actor Corey Haim, best known for his role in The Lost Boys, is dead at the age of 38 of a drug overdose. Big shock.
Hi, you've reached the Corey hotline. $4.95 a minute. Here are some words that rhyme with Corey. Glory, story, allegory, Montessori.
Sources suggest Haim died while taking inventory as he choked on some chicken cacciatore. He said there was lots of blood, it was very gory.
Hi, this is Corey. I hope you and I can get married someday.
His body was found by a man driving a lorry just east of the quarry, right next to an old copy of Tuesdays with Maury that he borrowed from his conservative friend John Tory.
Boom, roasted.
Corey Haim dead at the age of 38, yada yada yada, adios.
No one remembers your name.
Sammy, help me! Open up! Help me!
Sammy, open the window!
Never! I knew it! So where are you? The flying nun?
I'm Paramount Pictures. I'm Andy Warhol with other peers. Hey, has-beens, I'm the American dream. So let's stay out tonight. You see, I just can't stop it. I just can't stop it.
after midnight, the old caretaker was awakened by a terrible sound, whimpering pitifully. The sound came again, faintly. Only this time, he was sure it was human. The graveyard was silent except for the steady padding of his feet as he went around the tombstones. Hello, someone there, someone. There was nothing, no one. As he stood there, scratching his head, feeling something of a damn fool, he happened to look down. And there at his feet, someone had been buried that very afternoon. The grave had been disturbed, the soil was upset, and the cross lay on its side. Respect, he muttered, sure now that he was the butt of a practical joke. So he smoothed out the soil and set the cross back upright at the head of the grave, and then he went back to his bed. But outside, in the graveyard, in the wind, there was still a faint wisp of sound, almost like a song. Alive. Still alive.
Just stop the f***ing spitting. Alright, so first of all, what is the state of the Church of Satan? I was going to ask you about Wes Craven, and now I'm ashamed to.
Les Messman style.
Possibly the Antichrist. Like a zombie character on Sesame Street. All of a sudden it seems so irrelevant. Continue.
I speak nothing but the fucking English language. And if that's infamous, then tough titters.
Alright, this is Feedback with part 2 of my interview with celebrated horror novelist Peter Straub. Recently, you edited a 2-volume Library of America anthology series entitled American Fantastic Tales, where you dug up all sorts of forgotten, uncanny tales from American literature. Can you tell me how that project came about?
It came about because I had done the H.P. Lovecraft volume for the Library of America, and they liked the way I did it, and they got on with me, and I got on with them very, very well. So this idea struck the mind of Jeffrey O'Brien, the brilliant man, who is the editor-in-chief at Library of America, and a very, very good writer in his own right. He and the president, Max Rudin, asked me if I'd like to think about doing a 2-volume collection of American horror, fantasy, and I thought about it for about a second, and then I said, of course I want to do it. It'd be great. It occurred to me that I could do just what you have talked about, which is to unearth really good and resonant stories out of the topsoil that is, as it were, beneath our feet. Stories that were quite well known at one time and have been forgotten.
Getting back to movie adaptations of your work, why hasn't there been more movie adaptations of your work, and are there any in the pipeline?
I think it's been proven that the way I write discourages film adaptation. Things are just too complex. I really like going at things inside out and backwards, and movie people hate that. I've written a few books that could work very well as films. 2 or 3 of those have been optioned, to be specific, are, let me think, Shadowland, If You Could See Me Now, and Coco. I think Coco could be filmed. I think the novel I wrote, Mystery, would make a really good movie, and I don't know why it hasn't been picked up. But it's again, there's too much to it. I guess there's too much there. The adaptations that existed, that do exist, the Ghost Story one and the film called Haunting of Julia, don't make my heart sing at all because they're a little clumsy. Ghost Story was altered right at the end by the studio, who took what the director had shot and changed it around and took stuff out to make it a much less immediately coherent film. There are great sections in it. The Alma Mobley section, I think, is wonderful, and every moment Fred Astaire is on screen is great. But I don't think the movie really works.
The house is so empty, the town is so still, the truth never buried has come back to kill. The cold wind shrieks, the full moon's pale, the time has come to tell the tale. Fred Astaire, Melvin Douglas, Douglas Fairbanks Jr., John Houseman, Ghost Story, based on Peter Straub's terrifying bestseller, Rated R.
And do you have any news for us about the possibility of the final chapter of the collaboration you started with King with the Talisman?
Sure. I think Steve and I will certainly do the last Jack Sawyer book. And I have to wait until I've done another book before I can feel free to do that. And Steve always has more work than he knows what to do with. So I was thinking about 2 years we could start.
Now, there is going to be a graphic novel of the Talisman.
There is a graphic novel of Talisman that's in development. They're in the second big arc. And another graphic novel with which I actually had more involvement, called The Green Woman, is going to be published this autumn by DC Vertigo. I wrote it in collaboration with a friend of mine who is an actor on One Life to Live. His name is Michael Easton. And Michael and I worked out a very elaborate, rather bloody story that used some material from my novel called The Throat.
It seems bizarre, but you actually had a part on the daytime soap opera One Life to Live.
Say what? Yeah, I have a small continuing role, that of a retired blind cop named Pete Broust. And every now and again, once every 4 or 5 months, they write Pete into the script, and I go down to the studio. And, I appear in scenes, and I have lines, and I move from one spot to another. And it's tremendous fun. It's not at all like writing. It's completely the reverse of writing. It's expressive, for sure, but you do it in a crowd. My friend Michael, whom I mentioned before, is one of the main characters on One Life, and he had a big role in getting me in there. And it's great fun. It's a little unexpected, I know, but it's just very, very enjoyable.
This week, a good cop goes down. You're under arrest. Will a killer strike again?
Somebody has to make Mitch Lawrence pay.
You have no one to help you. One Life to Live.
Had you done any acting previously to this?
I couldn't be said to be acting now. I don't think. I think I've gotten better, but no, I was never an actor, except to the extent that a lot of writers think of themselves as actors because they kind of act out the characters as they write them. I don't do that as much as maybe Dean Simmons, who I think spoke about this once very colorfully. But it's there is something of that at work when you're trying to write good dialogue. You have to sort of ventriloquize one's own characters. The third time I was on, I really surprised Michael when I was in a scene with him, and he said, "Where'd that come from?" He said, "You went from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds." Very nice.
For more information about Peter's activities, go to his website at www.peterstraub.net.
Thanks, feedback. We've got the horror happenings coming up, but first, from the house that Dirt built, it's the heavy little voodoo blues for use on Remorque Radios.
I saw her dance with the devil, and he was wearing my suit, black and white Jordan 11, and she was looking for abuse. like a tape in a cassette. And when you see these kind of girls, oh, they all look big as fuck. But the devil know, there's only one thing tonight she gon' suck, cause she won't, no she can't. Believe me when I say she can't. She's already there. She's already there. Oh.
Not radio for Jones.
Only stunning.
Alright, let's see what's happening in the wonderful world of horror. Hey Shannon, what's happening?
I don't know if you've ever met Toon before, but he's just a little guy. So little, in fact, he was able to get himself into an episode of Toddlers and Tiaras, and he actually won the beauty pageant. He did. He beat out all the other 4-year-olds. It was great. I'm Shannon, and I've got what's happening horror-wise from around the world. Wild Claw Theater presents the world premiere stage adaptation of William Peter Blatty's Legion, opening Monday, March 15th at 7:30 p.m. at the Viaduct Theater in Chicago. It shows Thursday through Sunday until April 18th. Tickets anywhere between $10 to $20. Go to wildclawtheater.com for showtimes. March 22nd and 23rd at the Cinema du Parc in Montreal, they're showing a 35mm print of the movie Basket Case. Then on the 24th and 25th, a 35mm print of Street Trash will be shown. Just 11 bones for tickets, presented by horror-web.com. Go to cinemaduparc.com for all the details. And Odorous Arungus of Guar will be hosting a star-studded fundraising event on April 10th from 7 to 10 p.m. at the MF Gallery in Brooklyn, New York. The first annual Crackathon will raise money for muscular dystrophy. You'll be able to buy some Guar artwork and prints. Admission is free. Go to mfgallery.net for more info. And sadly, we remember the passing of Corey Haim this week. We all know him from Lost Boys. He was 38 years old. If you know of something happening in the horror world you'd like the whole world to know about, send me an email, shannon@rumorgradio.com.
Hey, thanks, Shannon. Yeah, it's all true. I actually kept the tiara and a couple of the toddlers. I keep them in the basement. Everything all right down there?
I'm scared. I want my mommy.
More galactic hits and the blood spattered guide coming up. Stay tuned.
Children behave. That's what they say when we're together. And watch how you play. They don't understand, and so we're running just as fast as we can, holding on to one another's hand, trying to get away into the night. And then you put your arms around me and we tumble to the ground, and then you say, I think we're alone now. It doesn't seem to be anyone around. I think we're alone now. The beating of our hearts is the only sound.
Hey, Room Morgue, it's Tiffany. Check out Necrosis, April 20th.
Say what? The future of horror is here. 8 films to die for. Horror Fest 4.
On DVD everywhere, March 23rd from Lionsgate.
Hello, this is Edward Douglas from Midnight Syndicate here at the Rue Morgue Festival of Fear, and you are listening to Rue Morgue Radio.
The night is my domain.
Hello, I'm Lisa Ladouceur, your blood-spattered guide to music on Rue Morgue Radio. And this week, I want to take you on a trip into outer space. Okay, maybe just Switzerland. I found myself recently in the land of clocks and chocolate.
The land of chocolate.
While there, I came across a strange museum dedicated to science fiction, utopia, and extraordinary journeys. It's called the Maison d'Ailleurs, and right now it has a temporary exhibition all about music and science fiction. From the 1950s into the 21st century, from avant-garde to novelty, surf rock to electronica, galactic hits will take you on a trip. I spoke with the curator of the Maison d'Ailleurs about why this season, at least for fans of music and the bizarre, his space is the place.
A monstrous world of terror and chaos. For when this switch is thrown, the universe will face havoc. The Earth will be devastated by an invasion of the cosmic monsters.
Salut Patrick, thank you for joining us today.
Hello, Lisa.
So, Maison d'Ailleurs is a museum that is dedicated to science fiction and the unusual. You have a wonderful collection of books and magazines and artwork. What made you want to do an exhibition about music?
Well, we thought that music was actually a genre which was very seldom linked to kind of the realms of imagination. Of course, you guys probably don't think that because you are on the fringe, I'd say. But for a general audience, which we address, science fiction or the weird and music are not really linked usually.
What was your goal when you started? Which direction interested you? The difference between something that is musically avant-garde and something mainstream, like, you know, an experimental theremin record versus the theme song about the Blob. What is your exhibition more about?
Well, our exhibition is as much about the Blob, thank God, as about kind of experimental kind of theremin music. What was the basis of our show, what is the basis of our show, is more like how people use science fiction as a pretext sometimes to kind of contextualize their new creations. And why do they need to do that? Why does a band like Magma in France need to kind of say they come from the planet Kobaya and sing in a made-up language to tell us something and to create music? Why is the science fiction element important in musical creation? I think it goes, and of course in the case of the Blob, it's because it would sell records because it's trendy to speak about aliens. But in case of Kraftwerk or the Normal, the band that did the Warm Leatherette, for instance, it's something else. It's more of they're interested in a story that they would be telling, and they're trying to fit their musical style into that story.
I have to ask you about horror. There was certainly a long period where sci-fi and horror was blurred, and there were creature features and monster movies, projects that definitely used a lot of the same music as the sci-fi film, sometimes the exact same music. So are there pieces in the exhibition that you think would appeal to the horror crowd as well?
Yeah, I don't think is there something like a horror crowd that is kind of not interested in like the Blob or something that are also science fiction? I mean, I know I might be wrong, but it's hard for me to kind of distinguish those things because there's, as you said, the frontiers there are sometimes, mostly in the 60s, very blurry.
To wrap up our conversation, having spent all of these months listening to music that was supposed to be about the future that, you know, we're now living in, What do you think music will sound like in the future?
Well, unfortunately, a lot of the music of the future is going to sound like the music of the past, and I think the music of the present is already kind of pretty much kind of 95 or 99% of it is something, as you would know as a music expert yourself, something you already heard before. And it's quite fun that in Jack Vance's novels, very often when he describes society that are falling apart, one of the thing that kind of really becomes really absurd is the music. And, some of the music of the future will be very noise-based and very absurd. And for sure, I'm not a seer. I cannot kind of say what the music of the future will sound like. In the exhibition, most of the music we have was avant-garde in a way. I don't know if now there's anybody really... I mean, the only kind of movement that is linked to science fiction somehow is a bit of the electroclash, maybe, and I don't really think there's anything new there.
The Maison d'Ailleurs is located at Yverdon-les-Bains, which is north of Geneva, in Switzerland, and the exhibition runs until August 1st. If you won't find yourself gallivanting across the Alps between now and then, you can get a compilation CD that they've made. Visit our website, ruemorgueradio.com, for a link to the Maison d'Ailleurs and all the details about ordering. Meanwhile, thanks to Patrick for speaking with us and giving me a reason to play one of my favorite songs ever by The Normal. This is Warm Leatherette.
Warm Leatherette. Warm Leatherette. Warm Leatherette. Warm Leatherette. See the breaking glass in the underpass. See the breaking glass in the underpass. Warm Leatherette. Warm Leatherette. Warm Leatherette. Warm Leatherette. Hear the crushing steel, feel the steering wheel. Hear the crushing steel, feel the steering wheel. Warm Leatherette. 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 Warm Leatherette melts on your burning flesh. You can see your reflection in the luminescent dash. Warm Leatherette. Warm Leatherette. Warm Leatherette. Warm Leatherette. A tear of petrol is in your eye. The handbrake penetrates your thigh. Quick, let's make love before you die. On warm Leatherette. On warm Leatherette. Warm Leatherette. Warm Leatherette. Warm Leatherette. Warm Leatherette. Warm Leatherette. Join the car crash set.
In a short time to come, from a planet far away.
2069, a sex odyssey.
mysterious flying object is menacingly approaching Earth, threatening mankind.
And what are these animals called? Men. Correct. Report to microvisor. And of what use are these men? They make the goodies. Male spermatozoa, the precious seed without which the mightiest civilization withers and dies. On our planet, we have only a few specimens left. What is that? It is a man. He is very dangerous and frightening. And why are we after him? To rub his funny bone. How do we get the seed? We rub for it.
It's the old-fashioned method that works best.
And what is that?
2069, a sex odyssey. A mission of survival turns into an orgy of interplanetary love.
Rational youth, Coboloid race.
This living layer, planet mushroom cage. We live in cubes in space. Coboloid race. Coboloid cities. It's all downtown. Coboloid possessed romance. Dreams rated X. Dreams rated X. Love interface. Dreams rated X. Coboloid race. New human species. Embryos and tubes. Lysogenic showroom. You could be you. Genetic supper. Bleeding dog food plate. Special series supper for the Coboloid race. Coboloid race. External face. Coboloid race. External face.
Welly, welly, well, well. What have we here, little droogie? I think we have the old Rue Morgue radio station. Well, that's worth a bit of the old in-out, real horror show. Nice and scorry. Lovely, real horror show. Enjoy.
I tell you, when you got the Holy Ghost and you got the power of God, the devil can be raging and storms can be coming against you and all the power of hell, and you can shout right onto it. Glory to God. Hallelujah. You make that call. We're going to be praying. We're going to believe God for every need in your life. We're going to have another song by Canis, and I know they're really going to bless you. And here they are from, I believe, Shiloh, Ohio. No, they're from Cleveland, Tennessee.
The Caustic Critics.
Controversial, unrelenting, it's brutal, it's nasty,
sensational.
The worst of the worst. Offend everyone equally.
Bowling.
They're real. The stuffed shit scrapes off the bottom of its shoes.
They're mean.
So what was the actor's name? Oh God, what a plank he is.
They're here.
Are you ready? It's time for the Cosmic Critics. They're here.
All right, this is feedback.
And this is Last Chance Lance.
This week, we're going to be talking about Frank Henenlotter's Bad Biology.
You know something?
Unrated version. What? You interrupted me? I'm trying to just give a preamble. What? Do I know what?
I love pussy.
Okay. Hey, remember, hallelujah. Give me 3 Hail Marys and a hand shandy.
Hail Mary, Hail Mary, Hail Mary, I love pussy.
White pussy, black pussy, Spanish pussy, smelly pussy, silk pussy, velvet pussy, nalga hide pussy, dog pussy, chicken pussy. All right, pussy.
Frank Henenlotter, the latest. It's out now on DVD, courtesy of Shriek Show.
Yay.
This is the unrated version. Frank Henenlotter, kind of semi-legendary cult filmmaker from the 80s. He did the Basket Case movies, Frankenhooker.
Want a date?
Want a date? Going out? Looking for some action?
Yeah, and I actually haven't seen his more recent output. He hasn't made many films actually.
Didn't even know he had done anything other than that.
Yeah, but he's made a couple of films. But this one, I think if it's a comeback of sorts, I think it's a comeback in grand style.
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
Oh,
like
yes. This movie is all about monster pussy. I love monster pussy.
And monster penises.
Okay, to be anatomically correct, yeah, you could have said, I would have accepted monster cock.
But I'm a little upset that you're failing to abide by our newfound rules of cleanliness and saintliness.
I didn't say cunt. I said pussy. That's what is. I like massive vagina. Is that better?
It's a little better.
Big vagina?
Gigantic vagina.
What?
Biggest vagina known to man. Huge!
Think of it biologically. Why should there be as many big vaginas as there are small penises? Right?
These big vagina ladies are getting away with murder.
Okay, let's keep it family-oriented.
Okay, well.
It's a family-oriented show. It's funny, we were talking about the crazies last week, and it was only actually after editing the interview with the director that Dave Alexander did that I started to actually retroactively dislike the crazies more.
Oh.
Because he talked about the concept that in the crazies, the idea was that the affliction would sort of remove the ego and would allow the id to come out full force. And I thought, well, that's a really interesting concept, but that film doesn't remotely explore it.
No.
Not at all. That could open up all sorts of wild ideas. Well, that's what we have with Bad Biology.
Oh my God, totally.
We have basically the two main characters, their sexuality, however repressed and kind of quiet it might be in most of our lives, or rather what I'm trying to say is how we take great pains to keep a lot of our sexuality kind of repressed. We have to in order to function. Otherwise, I'd be jumping over this table right now, rogering you mercilessly before my Christian, lifestyle.
Adam and Eve, buddy, not Adam and Steve.
God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. You people need to back up. Adam and Eve, shut up, Steve. I'm throwing every one of you out of here.
Brothers and sisters, we respect your right to be here. And you've been heard. Now it's time to let these other people be heard. I know many of you are Christians, so I'm going to ask you to do the Christian thing.
This is basically the id unleashed to just gigantic
This
proportions.
id sprays all over my face. It blew a load on me.
That's nasty.
Do you want to give it a bit of a plot synopsis?
Do I ever? Where's my hand lotion? Okay. This is about this hot chick who's a photographer who happens to have been born with this incredible vagina. She seeks out guys, has great sex with them, sometimes ends up killing them during the sex.
Ooh, kinky.
2 hours later, she's spitting out a baby.
The freak baby.
The freak mutant babies, which she just abandons and walks away, or she'll dump in
Throws
the
them in the
garbage.
dustbin.
And she's come to terms with
Brutal
the fact
stuff.
that even though as a kid she was taught that her vagina was bad and this particular vagina was horrible, she's come to terms with it, and she honestly believes that she is meant to have God's baby, and that her vagina is being placed on a pedestal to receive such holy seed.
For years I used to hate God. What kind of bastard creator would make me this way? I would fantasize about spitting in his face and ripping his eyeballs out and inflicting in him the same pain he's inflicted in me. But I've now learned to understand him. I now realize just how loving God is. He loves me so much that he's given me a gift. I can feel 7 times the sexual pleasure of any human being. And now he's giving me babies. Not for me to keep, of course, but as a preparation for his holy child. God has been building and designing my body for one purpose and one purpose only. God wants to fuck me.
Now there's a B story going on at the same time about a guy who's got a problem with his wiener schnitzel, and that is that when he was a baby, it was cut off by accident when they went to cut off the umbilical cord, and it was sewn back on, but it never got quite right. Now it's become this monster cock, which, monster penis, which he has to inject with animal steroids just to try to keep it in control, yet it has a mind of its own and actually sometimes even detaches and goes out and finds women.
In one of the greatest sequences in all of cinema, a stop-motion animated monster penis goes on a rampage, bulldozing its way through an entire apartment building, ravaging every MILF in sight.
Totally.
And let's face it, this is a rogues gallery of MILFs.
It is.
60 MILFs from wall to wall.
So what happens is these two finally hook up. The girl with the monster vagina, the guy with the monster penis, and they end up doing it.
Okay,
Phenomenal.
thematically, what would you say this movie is trying to tackle with?
Oh my God. Well, repressed sexuality in society, the idea of a woman coming to terms with her own sexuality, and that if a woman has sex with lots of people, she's called a slut. But if a guy does it, it's okay, he's a stud. The reversal of those roles. But I didn't care about any of that. I love the horror aspect of it. I thought it was filled with a bunch of nobodies, which was great. The girl is amazing. She's great looking. She's a great actress. And I'm so glad this was done by the guy who did Frankenhooker, because I saw that wicked, dark sense of humor. It just saturates the entire movie, and I loved it. I loved this film.
Are you crazy? You saw what happened to her. She couldn't handle it.
But I can. I'm built for it. Because like you, I'm built differently.
I can't tell if it's a subversive, almost pro-feminist critique of a male-dominated patriarchal society, or if it's just outrageously misogynistic. I'm still kind of got all these swirling, contradictory kind of impulses, and that's one of the things I liked about it. It's mental. It's totally deranged.
It is crazy.
It's like when you see so much, and it's great that we're doing it in comparison to the Crazies, because by comparison, that's such a safe, contained, little quiet film compared to this. This is the type of movie that we really need to celebrate on a show like this, because it just goes for broke. It's a jaw-dropper.
Oh yeah, and what's even better about it is in us just trying to describe it, wait till you, the listener, try to describe it to your friends. Good fucking luck on that one, okay?
Alright, until next time, this is Stuart, Monster Penis Andrews.
And this is Last Chance Monster Pussy Lance.
Unlike other so-called nymphomaniacs, my needs are not psychological. They're physical. It starts with a moist, burning itch deep inside, like a liquid flame, that grows and burns until my pussy feels like it's on fire. Then it spreads, pulsating through my veins, under my skin, up my arms, down my legs, and into my breasts, until my entire body is so hot and trembling it feels like my flesh is burning and crackling and turning into ash, and only an orgasm brings me back to normal. In other words, I need a dick the way a junkie needs a fix.
Well, you tried it just for once, found it alright for kicks. But now you find out that it's a habit that sticks, and you're an orgasm addict. You're an orgasm addict. Sneaking in the back door with dirty magazines, so your mother wants to know what all the stains on your jeans. And you're an orgasm addict. You're an orgasm addict. You're getting the heat, you're getting assault, but you still keep a beating your meat to pulp. And you're an orgasm addict. You're an orgasm addict. You're a Casanova, you're a no Joseph. It's a live on a fucking yourself to death. Orgasm addict. You're an orgasm addict. You're making out with school kids, winos and heads of state. You've even made it with a lady who puts the little plastic bombings on the Christmas cakes. Butchers, assistants and bellhops, you found them all here and there. Children of God and the joy strings, international women with nobody hair. Ooh, so well you're asking in an alley and your voice ain't steady. The sex mechanics are off, you're more than ready. You're an orgasm addict. You're an orgasm addict. Johnny won't fuck you always and always. He's got the energy, he will amaze. He's an orgasm addict. He's an orgasm addict. He's always at it. He's always at it. And he's an orgasm addict. He's an orgasm addict.
The Buzz, Cox, Orgasm Addict. But that's it, fiends. We're out of time here on Morgue Radio. Thanks for tuning in to the Weird Wide Web's original all-horror broadcast with me, Toon Dragomir, and all of my radio cartoon pals. Vote for us this year's Rondo Awards. Go to rondoaward.com to vote for Morgue Radio and all your other favorite horror stuffs. That's about a wrap, fiends. Follow me on Twitter, Toom, Dragomir. Hey, gentlemen, what'd you think of the show this week?
Marvelous story. Marvelous.
I think that was the worst shocker we've had in years.
Damn near scared the pants off me out of it. Well, I don't know about you, but I could do with another brandy.
Here.
Maybe a good cigar.
I've got to go to bed.
Brandy?
I haven't been sleeping well lately.
Well, it's time we all went home. Come on, Doc. You look terrible. Are you sleeping all right? Damn to hell are you? Gentlemen, before you go, I would like to propose a toast to us, Chowder Society.
Chowder Society. The Chowder Society. The Chowder Society.
The Chowder Society.
Ha ha ha! Ha ha ha! Chowder! Chowder! It's chowder! Say it right!
Chowder.
Come back here! I'm not through demeaning you!
This it sprays all over my face. It blew a load on me.
Damn right.
Right? These big vagina ladies are getting away with murder.